Cue fake podcast music. Ba-da-da-da-da-da.
Dun dun.
Hello and welcome to Michigan and Other Mayhem, the show about Michigan, murder, mysteries, histories, and other random mayhem from around the world. Your hosts are Allie
And Jen.
and Jen.
Man, that was said with a lot of energy.
You like that?
I mean, you were in it.
Fuck yeah.
You
a couple
owned
podcasts ago, it sounds like I was falling asleep. At one point, I take a heavy sigh, and it sounds like I lose consciousness. Sorry about that one.
That's great.
Do you want to go first? I know we just talked about it.
Yeah, you want me to tell you what?
Yeah, tell me what you're doing.
And then you tell me what you're doing, and then I'll go.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about a mother who murders her 2 children and herself by driving their car into a Kalamazoo, Michigan river.
Wow.
And also talk about a bag of bones found in North Jersey.
A bag of bones? There's a line in a song. I feel so alone. Gonna end up a big old bag of them bones.
Oh, dear.
I wanted to do mine about Caligula. My cousin John lives in Toronto, and he posted something on Caligula, this weird random fact, which you know I love random weird facts.
Yeah.
And I was pumped. I was like, I want to do Caligula. And I was actually talking to Brandy about Caligula, and he's the 3rd Roman emperor, and she mentions Tiberius, the 2nd Roman emperor, and I was like, yeah, he was batshit crazy too, so I might do one on him as well. Yeah.
That's great.
And then I do have a review of a Detroit bar that you and I will never go to.
No,
If what they say is in any way true, hell to the no. So how do you want to do it? You want to go first?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I'll do my 2.
Okay.
So on June 17th of this year, a mother, Ineza, I-N-E-Z-A.
I don't know.
It was
Yeah,
an
I'm like,
interesting name.
yeah.
McClinton,
Okay.
age 44, drove her vehicle into the Kalamazoo River, killing herself and her 2 twin daughters, Angel and Faith, age 9.
Oh.
Prior to driving her car into the river, she let out her 2 grandchildren, which were girls,
Okay.
which were said to be the age of under 10.
So she has 2 grandchildren also under 10 and 2 children under 10?
Yep.
And she lets her grandkids out of the car,
Out of the
but
car.
continues on and kills her own children.
Yeah, she lets her grandchildren out of the car at a Walgreens near the river. And those 2 young girls were who reported the incident. The family was reported to say that the mother did have signs of depression, and this is what caused her to drive into the river.
Wow. That's sad.
That is sad.
Because those little girls were aware of what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrifying and horrible.
Yeah. And then I came across an article about a bag of bones found hanging on a door of the State Line Lookout Scenic Overlook in Alpine, which is North Jersey.
Okay.
So on July 1st, an employee who worked at the snack stand at the Scenic Lookout,
Okay.
and this is at the Hudson River, found the bag of bones hanging on the door. Police say it will be a lengthy process to determine if the bones are human, removing the tissue to reveal any visible evidence such as stab marks, and studying the deterioration of the bones to determine, the approximate age of the person.
Yeah. Because my bones are pretty old and decrepit.
So at some point, we will learn more about that.
Okay.
But
I'm curious.
if I came to work
Yeah.
and hanging on the door was a bag of bones,
Yeah.
I would leave.
You would work from home for the rest of the day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm not coming.
So I want to tell you about Caligula. Have you ever heard of him? There was a movie done in the 70s that was like sex, 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 people, sex, everybody, sex everywhere. I mean, people on the movie set, and it was just like a regular rated R movie. Got venereal diseases. Everybody's having so much sex. About Caligula.
Okay.
But Caligula, whose full name is Gaius Julius Caesar Germanicus, was born...
Whoa!
Yep. August 31st of the year 12. So when I had to type it out, I had to type 0012. It was really weird. He earned the name Caligula, which means little boot as a kid, because his parents, his dad's Germanicus, and his mom is Agrippina. They used to dress him in like a little military uniform when he was a kid, like his dad, and he got the nickname. He's Rome's 3rd emperor, and he basically created chaos for the 4 years that he was alive and ruling Rome. Caligula's father, Germanicus, died when Caligula was 5 years old. His mother and older brothers were exiled, and they were considered political rivals to the emperor at the time. And the emperor at this time is Tiberius. Okay. And all of them died in prison or exile. Caligula, who was really young, 5, and his 3 sisters were not seen as a threat to Tiberius, who's the emperor, and they were allowed to live because he's like, they're too little and they're women. They're obviously not a problem. That's what they thought back in the day. So when his mother was exiled, Caligula was raised by his grandmother until she died when he was 19 years old. And after her death, Caligula was then raised by Tiberius, who reigned as the second emperor of Rome since Caligula was 2 years old. Historians believe that Tiberius was instrumental in the death of Caligula's family, and his status with Tiberius might have been that of a prisoner. While under Tiberius's care, my air quote care, Caligula stayed on the island of Capri. And this is what my cousin Brandy was talking about, because basically it's like pedophilia, all sorts. I mean, they're raping children, executing people, torturing people for fun. That's the island of Capri at this time. And, I lost my spot.
Oh dear,
what am I gonna ever do? Oh, there we go. While on the island, he liked to watch people being tortured and executed. So that's what Caligula did for... Okay, so while on the island, he liked to watch people being tortured and executed. And Caligula was also known to frequently indulge in feasts of food and sex. Well, yeah. Tiberius died about 6 years after becoming Caligula's guardian, just before Caligula turned 25 years old, in 37 AD. Tiberius had named Caligula and his cousin Gemellus as co-emperors. That same year, Caligula suffered from like a serious illness. Now, that I don't know if it was like a blow to the head or some type of seizure, but he became really ill, which is believed to have furthered his natural depravity. So he's already like a depraved, sick motherfucker, and then he gets sick, and it just seems to trigger him. And he starts to really be cruel to people. Unsurprisingly, after this illness, Gemellus dies shortly after being appointed co-emperor with Caligula, and it's under mysterious circumstances, leaving only Caligula to rule. Now, Caligula's other grandma, not the one that had raised him and then passed away, the other grandma, believed that he was guilty for his cousin's death, and it like basically killed her. She was so upset over it. Yeah. So Tiberius wasn't a popular emperor. So at first...
Obviously.
Yeah. Because Tiberius was an asshole as well, right? So at first people were happy to have Caligula in power. So his reign did have some positive benefits, like he finished construction projects that Tiberius started. He rebuilt temples. He gave bonuses to the emperor's personal guard, which is called the Praetorian Guard. Caligula also built a famous lighthouse, aqueducts. He built up harbors and an amphitheater. And Caligula also held numerous chariot races, plays, and highlighted gladiatorial games. Gladiators. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Gladiatorial games to entertain the masses.
That's cool.
Yep. Because he delighted in gore and death and gladiators. Yeah. However, the joy in his leadership did not last long. Caligula did things such as building a 2-mile long floating bridge across a bay for the sole purpose of galloping back and forth across it. So yeah, yep. He also had reduced taxes at the beginning of his reign, but then he raised them again to pay for all his excesses that he's doing. Caligula was known to roll around in piles of money, and he would drink pearls dissolved in vinegar. Yeah, I just thought, ooh, that's gotta taste like assholes.
Yeah.
He was also known to dress in strange costumes, women's shoes, and elaborate wigs. While on a military campaign to the English Channel, he told his soldiers to plunder the sea by gathering seashells in their helmets. And Caligula, he had suffered at this point a military loss, and he didn't want to go home like empty-handed. So he declares war on Neptune, which is the god of the sea, to Romans. And he orders his soldier to battle, like,
That's great.
Go at the sea. And he had them take whips to the waves and stuff. And he had his soldiers gathering, the seashells to bring back as spoils from a war that he won against Neptune. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I mean, I'm blown away.
Yeah, so his illness / mental break that he had when he first started ruling, it caused him to become paranoid. And Caligula attempted to purge the empire of his enemies. So remember, this is a guy who liked to watch executions and torture in his spare time. He would make high-ranking officers in his army run for miles in front of his chariot, like out in the desert, no drink. You just have to keep running or I'll run you over. And he brought back something he called treason trials, which was a tactic that was used by Tiberius. So if you had like a lot of money, you had a house that I liked, I would find you guilty of treason. I would find something, and I would take all your stuff and kill you.
Oh.
So Caligula would find people guilty of treason just to confiscate their property. Caligula was quoted as saying, and this is a quote that everybody attributed to him, so you know he was a bully and an asshole at the same time with this one sentence. Quote, "Remember, I have the right to do anything to anybody," end quote.
Wow.
Yeah, just a prick. Okay, if you've ever... I didn't watch the Game of Thrones TV show, but
I watched the last season.
Okay, I read the books. Do you know who Joffrey was? He was a young kid.
Mm-hmm.
He was so one article I read compared him to Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
Really?
That's what kind of a dick he was, yeah. While the gladiator games that Caligula put together were entertainment, they were also dangerous to the spectators. So once, while he was bored, he ordered a randomly selected section of the spectators into the arena of the Colosseum and then let loose wild animals to devour them. Just patrons of the gladiator.
I would never go.
Yeah, well, not after that. You wouldn't know before that, but after that, right? So he also had affairs with the wives of his allies and was known to brag about his conquests. And it's like, she can't tell you no, you asshole.
Yeah,
right?
Right.
There were accounts of Caligula turning the palace into one big brothel. He was said to have had sex with his sisters, with Drusilla being his favorite sister to have sex with. Caligula also treated his horses if it were human. He gave it its own home, jewels, servant. Caligula even made the horse's name was Incitatus, Incitatus. He made the horse a senator and put him on the list.
What the hell?
Yes, and put him on the list to become a high counselor. So that's like basically he put him in the house, and then he's like, no, I'm going to put you to Congress, right? So Caligula believed himself to be a living god. He had the heads.
Don't they all?
But don't all, boys. But he had the heads of the statues of Roman gods cut off, and he replaced them with busts of his own head. And he sometimes referred to himself as a god and signed some of his documents, Jupiter, and Jupiter was the king of the Roman gods. So he thought he was Jupiter. So it was said that he has all these cruelties, he's doing all these things, he has these lavish tastes, it embitters the Romans against him. And the guardsmen, so this one guy named Cassius, I don't know how to say his last name, it's like Chaerea, Chaerea. Mm-hmm. He was a Praetorian guardsman, so he was the emperor's guardsman. And he was a frequent target of Caligula's insults. He led the assassin. Caligula, his wife, and his daughter were stabbed to death in an attack.
Why'd they kill his daughter?
I don't know.
Oh, because maybe they reign? Well, no,
they wouldn't let her go.
Yeah.
But Caligula's uncle, Claudius, was there when it happened. He hid behind the curtain, and he survived the attack. Claudius becomes the fourth emperor of Rome.
There you go.
And Claudius was often also targeted by Caligula's cruelty, and there was one guy, Cassius Dio, quotes that said, he's talking about how Caligula thought he was a god. Here's his quote. Caligula, quote, learned by actual experience that he was not a god, end quote.
Oh, there you go.
And basically we killed him. Mm-hmm. And then then it goes like Claudius, and after Claudius it's Nero. And Nero's the one that people always say that he was insane. He was playing a violin while Rome burned. You ever heard that? He was playing the fiddle. Oh, yeah.
Did Claudius kill the people who assassinated?
I don't know. I don't think so. Okay, so...
I would,
Caligula,
because they might kill me.
Yeah, well, Caligula, it's his guards, too. So Caligula, made Claudius a frequent target, made the captain of the guards a target, and somehow, Caligula ended up going bye-bye.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was. My cousin John had put on the fact about the people getting thrown into the arena, and I was like, "What? I'm using that."
That's so great.
So I want to tell you about this club, which, funny enough, I was talking to Melina. She's been there. It's called Blue, BLEU.
Does she say this is true?
Yes, Blue Detroit. It's a nightclub, and I've got some Yelp reviews. JG. That's all their name is. From Ferndale, Michigan. I reduced it. It's a 1-star. It says, if you like bad service and douchebag bartenders and security guards, This place is for you.
Oh, nice.
Kawan W. from Detroit, Michigan said, also 1 star, my experience at Club Blue was the worst experience I've ever had in my life. I will never go back there as long as I live. The DJ played awful music and nobody was vibing. He wouldn't take requests unless we paid him, which is absolutely ridiculous. FYI, I agree with Kagan. Kawan. So, the bouncer had us write down our song request on a napkin, and instead of giving it to a DJ, he put a drink on it. So he said, yeah, write down your request. The guy writes down the request, and then he just puts a drink on it. That's how he handled it. Isn't that a dick move?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So then the next sentence is, rude! 2 exclamation points. What's even worse, the bouncers violently dragged out multiple girls for literally no reason. It was despicable. On top of all this, the drinks were unnecessarily expensive. This club was not attentive to our needs or wants, even though it was our sorority's private formal, which we paid lots of money for. Now, I told you there's one I don't have on here, but I was going through all the Blue Detroit reviews. This one person said, I bought 4 bottles of Bud Light and it cost me $64. That's $16 for a bottle of beer. Like, save your money. We'll go to the store. We'll get some beer. We'll come sit at my house. I will entertain you for that much money. I'll play whatever music you request.
Holy moly.
Yeah, so the last one is from Christina D. And she's from Honolulu, Hawaii. Also 1 star. Went to this club back in 2005 and got robbed by 3 crackheads when I went outside for a cigarette. Came back in and asked for a water and the bartender tried to charge me $2. I didn't have cash because my purse was stolen, and then I explained the situation and she still wouldn't give me a glass of tap water. Surprised to see this place is still open.
Oh, God.
End review.
Oh, Lord.
You know, it's a real Detroit experience when you get robbed by a crackhead while you're out.
Right? What do you got?
I'm waiting for my computer.
You're waiting.
I'm sorry, it's just having issues.
Oh, no.
We'll just cut that out. So you've been listening to Michigan Another Mayhem with Allie.
And Jen.
Connect with us at MichiganAnotherMayhem.com to join the conversation, listen to the podcast, access the show notes, find site links, or correct us when necessary. Rate and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Anchor, and YouTube. Bye-bye now.